Hi, this is the video where I explain the 4 major assignments that you have in this course. So in addition to the weekly discussion boards, short assignments, and reading reflection assignments, in this course there are 4 major assignments. 2 of those assignments are observing an infant or a toddler. So right now I want you to find a infant or toddler, so someone aged birth through 36 months old, so that means someone who has not yet turned 3 years old, younger than 3, find an infant or a toddler that you can observe twice during the quarter. Once you're going to observe in week 7 of the course, and a second time you're going to observe in week 10 of the course. If you need help, if you don't know any infants or toddlers, then let me know and I will help set something up for you. But it's going to be important that you observe the same child 2 different times. In infants, you're going to see some real changes even from just week 7 to week 10 of the course. The infant will change a lot. The toddler, the changes will be more subtle. But if you choose to observe a toddler, you will be looking at specific things the first time and different things the next time, so that it'll be an interesting observation for you both times. I will post the observation assignments in week 7 and week 10. At the time I'm recording this, I haven't written them yet, but I promise to get them up with plenty of time for you to familiarize yourself with the assignment before you go out and do the observation. And the purpose of the observation is just to see some of the things that we're going to talk about in this class in real life. So we're going to talk about cognitive development and motor development and language development. And I want you to have an opportunity to see what that looks like in real life. And so that's the purpose of the observation. Another major assignment you're going to have is you're going to go out and observe in an early learning setting. So I list in the observe in an early learning setting assignment, I list the different types of settings you could observe in, but really anywhere that infants and toddlers gather together would be an appropriate place to do an observation. So in a child care center, in an early Head Start program, at a library story time, family child care home, home visiting program, early intervention program, any of those types of programs would be an appropriate place to observe. Now, I do want you to observe a program that is different than the one that you work in. If you work in a program for infants and toddlers, at the very least, it needs to be in a different classroom than the one you work in. So if you work in the infant room in a child care center, you can observe in the toddler room. That would be fine. But you need to observe a different setting, a different classroom than the one that you work in. Now, it is possible to kind of combine the observation assignment with the early learning setting assignment. So for those of you, you could choose to do your site visit at an early Head Start program. So there are Skagit Valley College has a couple different early Head Start programs. You could do your plan to do your site visit in an early Head Start classroom, which is a classroom set up for toddlers who are from families who have a low income, and so they qualify for special services through early Head Start. You could observe a child in that. You could visit the site for your site visit, but you could also observe a child from that classroom for your observation assignment. And I can help you connect with the early Head Start program, and you could just say that you need to visit 2 or 3 times. First time for the first observation. The second observation could be done at the same time as your site visit observation. So it would just need to be longer, because 1 hour of that time you'd be observing the child, and separate from that, when you're done with the observation of the child, you could spend some time really observing the setting and completing both assignments at once. So think about that. If you currently work with infants and toddlers, you can do your observation with kids that you already work with. You also could do your observation on a child of your own. If you happen to have an infant or toddler, if you're a parent to an infant or a toddler, you could do your observations with your own children. So that is that. So the fourth major assignment is you're going to do some interviews with some families with young children. So the interview assignment is due in finals week. And for that assignment, you'll have to interview 2 different families about their child rearing practices. So the idea is that culture, and we'll talk about this deeper in the course, but culture affects how we take care of kids. What I do with my children and how I think about sleep and eating and play and cleanliness is affected by the fact that I'm a white middle-class person living in the United States. For example, my babies started sleeping in their crib at 3 weeks old. Actually, they started sleeping in their crib day 1, but we actually moved them to their own bedroom at 3 weeks old. Now, certainly not all white middle-class Americans make that decision, but it's more likely that a white middle-class American is going to make the decision to move their babies into their own bedroom. It's much more likely that I make that decision than a family parent in Italy, for example, where Italian culture values the collective experience more, much more the group experience, and they aren't as focused on pushing independence for their young children as white middle-class Americans are. So how we think about how we take care of our babies is influenced by our culture. And so this interview assignment is for you to talk to a family about their ideas about raising their kids, and have you start thinking about how culture influences that. And what I want to say is that there are a lot of different ways to take care of a child well. Okay, so I'll use sleeping for an example. Like I said, my babies are crib sleepers, and I even let them cry at night when they were putting themselves to sleep, when they were really young babies. That's really different than my friend who I just had dinner with tonight. Her 1-year-old sleeps in her bed with her at night. So we do it really differently, and we both do it okay. And she also is white middle class American. So there's a lot of variation within cultures. But the point of the assignment is to get to know a family, get to know their child rearing practices, and start to think about how their culture might influence that. So for that assignment, you're going to need to find 2 families that are currently parents to children ages younger than 3. And one of those families needs to be from a different culture than you are from. So start thinking about that now. So if you need help finding a family to interview, let me know. And I'm hoping you guys can kind of help each other with that, because I only know so many families. I don't live in Skagit County. I live in Whatcom County. So I don't know a ton of families in Skagit County. But I'm hoping if some of you need families to interview, you guys can work with each other. You also could interview each other. If you happen to have young children yourself, then you could make yourself available to your classmates to interview. So those are some of the logistics about the 4 major assignments, and I just want you to know about them now because it's going to take some coordinating. It is your responsibility to make appointments to do your observations. It is your responsibility to make an appointment to do a site visit, and it is your responsibility to find 2 families to interview. Please let me know if you need help and need referrals to any of those things. But ultimately, it's your responsibility. So I want you to know about it now so you can go ahead and get started on that. Like I said, I haven't posted all of the assignments yet, but I hope to soon. I also have tried to warn you, like in week 4, I have an assignment worth half a point that says make an appointment to do your observation. So that's kind of there to remind you, okay, now's the time that it would be appropriate to make an appointment to do that observation. So I try to put reminders in there for you so that it doesn't sneak up on you. Okay, if you have any questions, please call me or email me. Okay, thank you.